Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive Podcast.
Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guest is Vince Lusardi. Vince Lusardi is the Chief Experience Officer at Everest, who focuses on crafting experiences so that the brand and the community thrive. Most of Vince's career has been in the startup space, specifically direct-to-consumer e-commerce and lead generation. Vince's inspiration to join Everest was fueled by his passion for wellness and love how the outdoors help people grow into better versions of themselves. This is what excites him about the Everest mission, helping the community find their Everest. Vince's mission as Chief Experience Officer of Everest is to empower the connection between sellers and consumers through engagement by celebrating the outdoors. The experience process we are building at Everest focuses on collaboration, systems thinking, and a dedication to the craft. The Everest team uses a combination of data, storytelling tools, customer interactions, brand voice, design, and importantly, a dash of hot pepper sauce fun to create surprise and delight moments. Well, good afternoon, Vince. Welcome to the show.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me today, Brian.
Absolutely. I get really energized. My audience is tired of me probably saying this all the time, but traversing the world virtually for 40 plus countries now and talking to some amazing people is really what gets me jazzed. So Vince, we're going to jump right into the questions so we can get your story out there. Let's talk about your career a little bit in design, in creative, as an advisor, and now you're the Chief Experience Officer at Everest. Could you share with our audience the secret to your career growth and what inspires you?
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate you having me. And this is amazing. Thank you so much. So my strength is in design enrollment and importantly, system thinking. So I'd like to focus on system thinking in terms of career growth. To stand out, you have to find those moments. You have to find those moments that the competition is not going to look at. And let's think it through the entire experience, from the products displayed in an e-commerce thumbnail to how it's talked about on an email footer, right? These are opportunities to look for these surprise and delight moments that the competition is not really going to look for. And this is what I do. I look for these little fun things like I mentioned an email footer, like putting like a fun, surprising quote in there. And what really inspires me is I love working with, collaborating with passionate people on those surprise and delight moments. It just really energizes me. Those are moments that just stand out and build that radical differentiation. And one other thing I want to add to the career growth, it's been an important thing that I like to think about every day is like, you have to take a chance. There was this great quote from social media. Social media will have these wonderful moments. And there was a quote. The quote is, pick your hard. Pick your hard. Being in debt is hard, but saving money is hard. And life is all about identifying that hard and taking a chance on growth. But it's going to be hard either way. But it's also going to be fun when you pick the right hard.
I love that when you share your perspective, your experience, and you meld that together with a quote or a saying out there. It makes people really resonate or relate to you or your story. So thank you again. I appreciate that, Vince.
Appreciate it.
You bet. And Vince, give us a brief rundown, a day in the life as a CXO or Chief Experience Officer at Everest.
Absolutely. It's a startup. It's incredibly exciting. There's a lot of fun things happening, a lot of processes being built. I like to start my day like this. I start every day with meditating. I at least like to meditate for about 10 to 15 minutes, but it helps ground me. It helps focus. It helps keep me focused. After that meditation, though, I jump into a big, massive cup of coffee, just huge. And I proceed to capture all of my thoughts onto a piece of paper. And then what I do is that I bucket those thoughts into what I need to do today and what I need to do tomorrow. I mentioned this, but a startup environment, it's really fast. There's a lot of things happening. So it's critical to be focused. The key is to be focused. And at Everest, I focus on the entire ecosystem, brand, marketing, retention, UX. I'm looking for ways to find and build engagement and build community with the outdoor buyers and outdoor sellers. And I'm looking for that common thread that just it ties everything together and makes magic.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I can tell you're passionate about this. I know startups have a lot of energy and excitement along with it, along with a lot of other things that come along with that. But I can sense it in your voice, and we all appreciate that. Really, really do. So, Vince, switching gears, we're a technology platform, right? So we want to know if you're leveraging any new or emerging technologies within your business. And maybe if not, you could share maybe a cool tool or app you found useful.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love talking about the philosophy of technology, and I love to share a tool that is I love this tool. So when I think through tech, I think through the lens of brand, and brand is built on a series of individual moments, and it's all built in individual minds. So what I might think of a brand might be very different than how you think of a brand, but there's huge advantage into planning through that entire system. And that's our mission at Everest is we are building these community building connections. Part of that is through telling engaging brand stories, but really a crucial factor is our tech. Our roadmap is stacked on the focus on connection. So that is, like I mentioned, system thinking through interactions that we can provide contextualized results to those we serve. And so, for example, content. Content is the backbone of the customer's journey, right? We have a problem and we go to Google and we search for that. So what we're doing at Everest is where we're understanding in that process where exactly this person is at. How can we serve them? How can we build confidence? Maybe that's a post-purchase situation where somebody, let's take fishing, for example, and they happen to buy a crankbait and they buy it in a specific color. Well, everybody has a bit of buyer remorse. We're loss averse. And so I totally understand that. I want to make sure you have the best experience as possible. So that would be like, let's say we serve content, we serve how-to tips on that specific crankbait in order to build up your confidence. And here's a tool, by the way. I really love this. The listeners might have heard this, but it's great though. I just want to put it out there. It's a tool called Answer the Public. Answer the Public. And Answer the Public is great because it feeds in autocomplete data and branches it out into questions and phrases. And so when you're looking for content inspiration and just trying to better understand your audience, it's fantastic for that.
Thank you. We do enjoy. We eat those little nuggets up that our guests provide around the tools they have found useful. In fact, I've got a lot of comments and feedback from people saying, I now use that app that so-and-so mentioned on your show. So thank you again. I appreciate that.
Of course.
And Vince, last question here. Could you share something from your career experience that might be helpful for those looking to grow their career in leadership or design?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would say that this applies everywhere. I come from a mostly startup background, and that a lot of that is in lead gen and e-commerce. In the startups, there is a lot of action. I've been through Series B funding where your team just radically changes overnight, and it's really exciting. But there's three core things. If you do this, you will succeed, but you have to have these three things work together. They can't just be individualized. They have to be working together. Focus, mission, and relationships. And I say focus because you will get a tremendous amount of opportunities that come your way, and you'll have this urge to act on them. But you have to learn to say no. And I think Steve Jobs, I want to say that he was really famous for knowing how to say no. That was one of his unique disciplines, is knowing how to say no and stay focused. Mission. This is important. You have to have a why. Why are you doing this? Who are you serving and why are you doing this? It just can't be a transactional thing. Everybody wants to make money. Everybody wants to succeed, but you have to have a why. And the third one, relationships. This is really, they're all important, but relationships is absolutely there. And I say this because you want to build up your relationships with your customers. Yes, that is incredibly important. But you want to build up the relationships with the people around you because you're going to face challenges. That's going to come. But there's challenges, they come with a teachable moment. And what you have to do is that you're going to have to stack those moments. And you stack those moments, those small wins, and that leads to success. If you nail those three things, you will have success.
Thank you, Vince. Most appreciated. Again, we talked about some of the gems on the software tools, but now you definitely shared some things that people can actually take to heart and apply it either in their career or in their new business that they've maybe launched. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And Vince, it was a pleasure having you on today, and I look forward to speaking with you real soon.
I love this. Thank you so much, and I look forward to it. Thank you.
Bye for now.